at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, and what a great day to play as the 49ers entertain the Los Angeles Rams. Both teams 1-2 and both disappointed at this point. John Robinson, a longtime friend of my colleague John Madden. What's his frame of mind at the moment, John?
Well, you know, I think on one hand he feels pretty good because the Rams have always played the 49ers well here. In fact, they've won 3 out of their last 4 games here at Candlestick. I think he's a little concerned about his quarterback, Jim Everett. Jim Everett is a rhythm passer, and he really hasn't gotten into the rhythm this year. In fact, he's the only starting quarterback in the NFL that hasn't thrown a touchdown pass.
And he was supposed to be the quarterback of the 90s. On the other side of the field, the 49ers and George Seifert, also 1-2, and they're concerned somewhat.
Well, I think anytime you have to play with Joe Montana dressed like this in street clothes, then you have to be disappointed because Joe Montana is the best quarterback in football. So Steve Young has to take over. I mean, he's the highest paid quarterback, backup quarterback in the game. Everyone said that he can start on any team. Now is his chance, and he has to do it. And if he's going to do it, he has to do it running and moving and getting the ball to Jerry Rice. I think you talk about big play guys in the NFL, this guy goes at the top of the list.
And when you have John Taylor on the other side, it's hard to double Jerry Rice no matter who you have covering. The 49ers will kick it off. Mike Cofer. Back deep for the Rams, Vernon Turner and David Lang. I was talking to Mike Cofer a few minutes ago about the kicking situation, and he was saying it's not very stable, at least as far as I'm concerned, because I've changed holders 5 times since the beginning of training camp. Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Welcome to those of you who watched the Saints shut out Minnesota 26-0. They seem to be for real. This is Vernon Turner, and the 49er coverage is for real as he is down at the 14. The ball's loose. Darren Jordan down to make the stop. 49ers saying they have the ball, but the Rams offensive unit comes on the field. Jim Everett, of whom John Madden spoke just a moment ago, outwardly seems confident, but he's been widely criticized, and certainly he needs a good day today. Up front, a new offensive line. Perry Brostick, Newberry at center, and Milenacek, Duval Love in place of Jackie Slater at right tackle. Delpino and McGee, the 2 backs, Ellard and Anderson wide. Henry Ellard goes in motion. Dropped by Henry Ellard as Everett chose to throw on first down. Todd Bowles, the nearest defender. Here's the 49er defense. 3-man front. Dennis Brown in place of Pierce Holt. Michael Carter and Kevin Fagan up front. 4 linebackers: Haley, DeLong, Walter, Romanowski. In the secondary, Kevin Lewis and Don Griffin the corners. Bowles and Weimer the safety men. Those of you who watch the Lions improve their record to 3-1 by defeating Indianapolis. Welcome to Candlestick Park. Pat Summerall with John Madden. This is Delpino, wide left. Broke 1 tackle, but just barely got to the line of scrimmage. Fagan tripped him up. A gain of 1. No score at Candlestick. On an absolutely perfect day in the Bay Area. Not a cloud to be seen.
Well, the Rams tried to get in that rhythm, Pat. On first down, they went with 3 wide receivers trying to throw the 49ers off, and Henry Ellard dropped the ball. Then they came down on second down with the 2 running backs who went to their running game. And this is a situation that they've had way too much of this year, 3rd and long.
Keep your eye on number 94. They picked him up. Everett misses Ellard, and they'll have to punt. Let's see what happened to Haley. That's what they're concerned about.
And see where Haley's lined up. He's lined up in the middle. He'll line up on the right side. He'll line up on the left side, and he'll line up in the middle. The biggest thing the Rams have to do is find out where he's going to be. that time they found him pretty good, didn't they?
There are a few players that you have to set your game plan on offense. Let's make sure where he is. Hatcher back to punt. Not very well. Taylor signals fair catch. The 49ers will take it over in Ram territory. First and 10, 49ers at their own, are at the Ram 42-yard line. Flag on the play. This all happened way away from the kick and away from the ball.
Well, it was down there in the 30-yard line. They were trying to hold up that right end. You know how they do it, and they kept hitting them after the play was over.
That was Sammy Lilly.
49ers signal that's against the Rams.
All that action and activity took place well away from the ball. Red Cashin is the referee today, and he'll tell us what the violation is in a moment.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 27 on the kickers. 15 yards. Touchdown.
Sammy Lilly.
You were right. It was on Sammy Lilly. He was trying to get down, and you know what they do? Sammy Lilly has been a great cover guy, so they double him and they stay with him. Then it's a fair catch, and they're still blocking him. Sammy Lilly starts to fight back, and that's always the guy that they catch, but that is a big, big penalty.
Is it ever? The first time the 49ers touched the ball there at the Ram 27. First and 10. Steve Young, the quarterback. Fakes to Carter. Gets it outside to the tight end, Jamie Williams, inside the 15 to about the 12. Pat Terrell made the stop, but Williams gets a 49er first down. The offensive line, Wallace, McIntyre, Sapolu, Roy Foster, and Harris Barton move back to tackle. Jamie Williams, the tight end. The running backs, Carter and Rathman. The wide receivers, Rice and Taylor. Formidable lineup. First and 10, 49. At the Ram 12. Carter. To about the 6. Stopped by Chris Pike. The Rams defensive line, Wilson. Two new tackles, Pike and Young, and Kevin Green. Linebackers, Fairnez, Larry Kelm in the middle, and Roman Pfeiffer. That's a new group. Gray and Henley, Terrell, and Stewart. In the secondary, that's the Rams' defensive strong point, and they're going to need it. To Carter. Knocked out of bounds by Gray. Those of you who watched Miami beat Green Bay 16-13, Don Shula's 300th win. Welcome to Candlestick Park in San Francisco. No score is yet. We just underway. But the 49ers deep in Ram territory.
You know, when we talked to George Seifert yesterday, this was the area that he had the most concern in, inside the 20. Last week they got inside the 24 times, and they only scored once.
3rd and 4. Rathman and Sidney were the running backs. Sidney, who came out of bounds, and Young is hit from behind, scrambles for the 5. It won't be enough for a first down. Pfeiffer, after a gain of 1 by Young.
Yeah, that's the advantage that you get when you bring a linebacker, is that he has the speed to chase down a quarterback. Now, Steve Young is probably faster than any other quarterback, but when you get a linebacker coming like Pfeiffer, he couldn't get away. That move could get away from a big defensive lineman, but not a quick linebacker.
So Kofer will come in to try the field goal. Moshenko will hold. 22-yard attempt this time by Kofer. From the right hash mark. So he'll hook it in. Just barely. Didn't quite hook as much as he hoped, but it was still good. 3-0 49ers. There is, as John Madden said a moment ago, perhaps the greatest to ever play this game, Joe Montana, and you have to miss him.
You know, and he has that right elbow injury that they thought was tendonitis early, and then they found out it's a torn tendon. I think it's much more serious than anyone thought. He's been having those MRI tests, and supposedly it's healing. He hasn't thrown the ball yet. He's been throwing underwater, which is a new type of thing where they go underwater and just use the motion underwater. The doctors said supposedly that he could start throwing on Monday. And George Seifert said, okay, if that's true, let's wait another week. I think what they're going to do now is wait until that bye week to see if Joe Montana is going to be able to throw the ball.
And that'll be in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then I think if he can't, they'll probably, say, well, let's go on to the next thing that we have to do.
Which may or may not be surgery. I think the Rams have to feel, John, that they're a little bit fortunate to get out of this predicament only behind 3-0.
Yeah, because they had that, they didn't get a first down. They had a bad punt, then that 15-yard penalty. But again, the 49ers have had problems. And once you start having problems inside the 20, they seem to multiply. Every time you get there, you think, oh, no, here we are again.
Turner at about the 2, with the wedge in front. And the 49er coverage cuts him down at about the 22. David Whitmore. Washington has gone ahead of Cincinnati 34-27 with a minute 2 seconds remaining. Redskins trying to stay unbeaten. Giants 13-10 final over Cleveland. Houston and New England. And those Saints, better than I think anyone expected them to be, shut out Minnesota.
I think they probably realized that they missed Bobby Hebert more last year than anyone thought.
Everett on first down. To Buford McGee. Gain perhaps of 5, 6 maybe. Stopped by Don Griffin and Romanowski.
There's Steve Young after a play. He comes over to the sideline and he's talking to Mike Holmgren. Mike Holmgren is the guy that's up in the press box, the offensive coordinator who calls the plays. Remember when Bill Walsh was here, they used to script the first 25 plays. Now with Holmgren, they script the first 15 plays.
And they pretty much stay with that script.
And what they're talking about now is what they're going to do the next time they get inside the 20, if anyone was open on that pass when Young took the sack or not.
2nd and 4. That's Del Pino. No gain. Right now for an NFL update, let's send you back to our New York studios and Greg Gumbel.
Well, Pat, a little baseball news this afternoon. The Pittsburgh Pirates have clinched the National League East. Doug Drabek getting Charlie Hayes on strike. Pirates beat the Phillies 2-1. So the Bucks are going back to the National League Championship Series. Meanwhile, in the American League East, the Red Sox are leading the Yankees in the 8th inning. They began the day a half game back. Pat?
9:55 left here at Candlestick Park. 3rd and 5 for the Rams. Everett back to throw it. Outside, incomplete. Juggled by his tight end, Pat Carter, and then it got away from him. Dave Weimer was the nearest 49er defender.
You know what it looks like to me? That last week Everett was trying to force the ball. He was throwing too hard. He had to wave the ball way down below his knees. Now it looks like he's trying a little too hard to get back into a rhythm and maybe taking a little too much off the ball.
John Taylor standing back at about the 30 to return the punt from Hatcher. Better kick this time. Taylor signals fair catch, and the 49ers will take over at their own 31. 40-yard punt by Hatcher. 49ers lead it 3-0.
You know, you can just feel these quarterbacks that get paid a lot of money, like Jim Everett. He gets paid over $2 million a year. And the whole burden of the success of the team just kind of goes in their shoulder. And after a while, it looks like their shoulders start to slump a little.
Don't you think that's one of the reasons that John Robinson is such an advocate of the running game? To get some of that burden off his quarterback?
Yeah, I think so. But, you know, again, when you have a Flipper Anderson and a Henry Ellard and an Aaron Cox, you have to get the ball to them, and they're not doing that in their offense.
Young back to throw it. Jamie Williams wide open in the middle. First down, 49er. Pat Terrell made the stop. We welcome those of you who watch Washington and Cincinnati, where the final score was the Redskins 34, Cincinnati 27. Here in San Francisco, the 49ers lead it 3-0. They have a 1st and 10 at their own 45. Beautiful day on the West Coast. Redskins remain unbeaten. Cincinnati remains winless. Henderson, the lone setback. Young to throw it off the infield dirt. Caught by Sanjay Beach. Fairnays made the tackle.
You know, that was one of the things that Steve Young was talking about. He said over the years, they've had success against Philadelphia. And, of course, this is the same defense by spreading it out. 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers, just one running back, and their offense in here. And you see how that spreads this defense out where they can't bunch up on you. And Steve Young said when they played against the Eagles, they had success doing this. And that was a big thing in their game plan today, or is going to be a big thing in their game plan today, is mixing some 4 wide receivers in.
This time it's 2 wides, 1 lone setback, 2 tight ends. Young quickly outside to Wesley Wall. Stopped after maybe no gain.
You know, every time Steve Young, because he's left-handed, every time he runs or bootlegs, it's always going to be to the left. Now, the Rams know that, and they're trying to get up the field with their linebackers, with Kevin Green, get everything in his face to the left, but Steve Young is doing it too quickly on those bootlegs, and they can't get to him, because that's the 3rd time he's run that bootleg to the left.
3rd and 1. Rathman, 1st down. Picked up 2. Stopped by Glenell Sanders.
And this is the old, single wing. You put the 3 tight ends, lead with the back, bring that big fullback in there behind, and there's no way that if you're doing your job, they should be able to stop you, especially when you get in behind a good tackle like Steve Wallace.
Defensive coordinator for the Rams, Jeff Fisher. Proud of his secondary, but everything else is pretty much, we're filling holes for injury.
Right, and most of the stuff he does is Buddy Ryan stuff. Sure. He played under Buddy in Chicago, coached under Buddy in Philadelphia.
Young to Taylor, breaks 1. That's when they're so dangerous. 9-yard pickup, stopped by Terrell.
You know, all the Rams players we talked to yesterday, that's what they all said about these receivers, whether it's John Taylor or Jerry Rice, that they catch those little ones, and you have to make them pay for it right then. Tackle them right there. So where they get the big plays, they catch a little pass, and then they run with that little pass for 50 or 60 yards. But if you tackle well against them, you can contain them.
Young is 5 out of 5, 2nd and 1.
Of course, they're hard to tackle, too. I mean, if they were easy to tackle, then we'd all be out there doing tackles.
Henderson is the lone setback, and he gets the carry. Flag on the play, and that usually indicates holding against some member of that 49er offensive line. Chris Pike made the stop.
And it's a drive stopper, too. You know, you get those situations where you're picking up 1st downs, creating short yardage situation, and boom, you get that holding, and that puts you in a long yardage situation.
Holding during the run. Number 79 on the offense. It's still 2nd down.
Call against Harris Barton.
Well, Harris Barton is a right tackle. He would be playing right here. They just have 1 back. They're just running straight into the line of scrimmage. You see Barton, he gets his left hand up there on that shoulder. Now, that's a pretty good drive block. That's not bad because the right tackle has to use his left arm. He has to shoot that left arm across, and that's the way you drive block.
2nd down. Young back to throw it. Adequate protection hit. Jerry Rice, who ricocheted off 1 man and lost some yardage. Back to New York and an update.
All right, Pat, at New England, last seconds of the game, 6 seconds left. In fact, Hugh Millen to Greg McMurtry, 34 yards, and Houston falls from the ranks of the unbeaten, 24-20. The Patriots a winner over the Oilers. Pat?
3-0 49ers over the Rams. The last play.
Well, you watch here, you see the confusion on the Rams. The 49ers have 3 receivers out here, so they have one go to the right, one go to the left, and Jerry Rice take the middle. The Rams weren't ready for that one.
3rd and 3. Young outside. Got it to Mike Sherrard, but he was hit by the Rams' Darrell Henley short of a first down.
Hey, one thing I'm impressed with the 49ers here is they have good mixture, but they come up, because of that pass being short, they come up with a tough decision and a 4th down deal. And of course, when you're the head coach, it's a tough one to make. You know, it's easy to say, oh, let's go for it, let's go for it, let's go for it. But percentages say you have to punt the ball here and let your defense play.
That is what he has chosen to do, George Seifert. Ralph Moshienko is the 49er punter. As you look at John Robinson now, Moshienko kicked for the Redskins for a while. Into the end zone, they'll bring it back to the 20. Spencer Tillman down, almost had a hand on it, almost stopped it. 3-0. The 49ers lead with 3.5 minutes left first quarter. Back at Candlestick Park, the 49ers lead with 3:31 left first quarter. The whole first quarter has been played in the Ram end of the field. Right now you look at the Ram huddle. Bernd Brostek has been taken to the locker room. He injured an ankle, and now Doug Smith, number 56, has joined the offensive line.
You know, when it rains, it pours, because the Rams only had one healthy offensive lineman, and that was Doug Smith, so he's the center, so he's going to go in at center. Then Tom Newberry has to go play any of the other positions.
So Newberry's now the left guard. This is Del Pino. Nothing. Haley on the stop, the first 49er there.
Yeah, if you look at the way the Rams offensive line was a year ago, Pankey, now Newberry's back at left guard, and that's where he was a year ago. Doug Smith is now at center. That's the way they were a year ago. Love was the right guard. He's now the right tackle. Jackie Slater, of course, was a right tackle. Now you look at the new offensive line, you see Perry there, but with Newberry going back to left guard and bringing Doug Smith in, that's the way they played last year.
As you say, it always happens like that. When injuries occur, they happen in the same position. Second down. They throw to Henry Ellard. Stopped by Kevin Lewis. 7-yard gain.
You know, it's an interesting thing on the 49ers and the trouble they have inside there. They had to win. They could have kicked a field goal, which would have been 53 yards. And the reasons of the fans booed is maybe they wanted them to go for the 53-yard field goal with the win. But if you're going to punt, at least punt it inside the 20. So by doing that, they didn't go for the 4th down play. They didn't go for the field goal, and they only picked up 16 yards of field position.
This whole first quarter, with one series accepted, has been played in the Ram into the field. Everett has Del Pino. And now, what I said is no longer true. David Whitmore knocked him out of bounds, but the pass complete for a 28-yard pickup.
And I think the guy running down there is Jim Everett. He ran all the way down the field, because if you talk about a guy who needs a play, who needs a big play, who needs some confidence, it's Jim Everett. He threw a perfect pass here to Robert Del Pino. Del Pino caught it, went off his helmet, off his face mask, into his hands. I don't know if he ever had control of that thing.
They're going to run a play in a hurry.
I would. If I were the Rams, I'd get that thing up and get it run, but the officials aren't going to let him. As the Rams finally hit him, but I don't know, Del Pino, when that ball hit up against his helmet, then his face mask, I don't know if he didn't go out of bounds before he ever really had control.
Look again.
Him going out
You
of
see
bounds.
there, he doesn't
Plays
have
being
it. He
reviewed.
doesn't have control yet. Now he has control. Left foot, right. Yeah, he had control. He did, because he got 2 feet down, I think, with the ball under control.
I think he did. And then he was knocked out of bounds.
And he just had it for those 2 steps, too, because he didn't have it before. Watch, he doesn't have it here. He doesn't have it yet. Now he gets control, 1, 2. And then as he goes out of bounds, he loses it. But he did have control during those 2 steps.
Replay official is Cal Lepore. And they're still looking.
First down.
Pass is complete. First down, Rams at the 49er 45. San Francisco leading 3-0. Del Pino, the deep back. Ramon Johnson was the man in motion. This is Del Pino. Heard it out of bounds after a pickup of perhaps 5 yards. And a little fracas in front of the Ram bench.
But they're going after that. At one place you don't want to get in a fracas is on the other team's sideline. Charles Haley was right in the middle of them. I think, the Rams, that's all they talked about yesterday was Charles Haley, that they have to know where he is. He's the guy they have to block. That one there, that got players, Rams, coaches, all kinds of bodies went flying over there. I think on that thing, I think I'd take Haley.
I think I would too.
If you had to say, who do you want? You want Haley? You want the other guy? I'll take Haley.
As long as he keeps his helmet on. Everett. To Eller with some room. Henry Allard inside the 10. Knocked out of the bounds at about the 3 by Waymer.
Now Jim Everett is getting his confidence, and he's done a couple of things he had to do. One, he got the big play to Del Pino. I think that made him relax a little. Then he started coming back now, getting the ball to his outside receivers. Finally got the one here to Henry Allard.
That's really what they have to do is get the ball to those outside guys. You said that before.
And the first thing they have to do right here is block Charles Haley. You see Gerald Perry's doing it here. He's going to have a little help from the center. You see the center, Doug Smith, come over there. They're always going to slide towards Haley. So the center, the tackle will block him, then the center will always come off to be in the position to help before he gets to Everett.
Buford McGee with an assist on that block as well. Pat Summerall with John Madden back at Candlestick Park, San Francisco. Ball's on the 2-yard line. The 49ers leading John Robinson's Rams 3-0. First and goal at the 2. That was a 49er timeout, by the way.
That was interesting in talking to John Robinson, and he and George Seifert, had coached together at the University of Oregon, and John Robinson grew up about 2 miles from here. He said that he always felt good coming back here and playing the Candlestick, and his team really has confidence coming into today's game.
This is Del Pino. Nowhere to go. No gain. Michael Carter came from nowhere to trip him down.
There's a guy one time, Michael Carter, number 95, was the best nose tackle in all football. He's kind of slipped a little, but if you're going to make some plays down there and you're going to run inside, you're going to have to get some movement on Michael Carter.
Second and goal from the 2.
In fact, if I were the Rams and I was thinking I want to get some movement, I think I would wait until the clock runs out, which they're doing, and think about a couple of pass plays and try them down here.
So that's the end of the first quarter with the score. The 49ers 3, the Rams nothing. 49ers leading 3-0, but the Rams have it. Second and goal at the 3. As we begin the second quarter.
Yeah, I think that was a smart move by the Rams. If you look now, they're going with the wind. If they score, then they get to kick off with the wind, and they don't have to kick off from the dirt.
Everett back to throw it. Outside Del Pino, incomplete.
See, by doing this, they get to go with the wind. Of course, they have to score. But you see, say that they didn't score now. I mean, if they scored down on this end, then they'd have to kick their extra point from there, which is one thing you don't like to do. And then when you come up the next time, you have to kick off, and you would have to kick off from the dirt right here. See, so kickers don't like to kick off dirt. So by letting the time go, now they got some grass if they score. But now they got to take another timeout to figure out a play to score with.
Most kickers just flat don't like dirt. 3-0. The 49ers lead.
You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
49ers 3, Rams nothing. Second quarter has just begun. The Rams have it 3rd and goal at the 3.
And you know that this is going to be a pass because the Rams have 3 wide receivers in there. And Jim Price, who is their pass-catching tight end.
Everett got some room. He's close. Not sure.
Oh, this is going to be a big decision here because he's not in. The Rams are down 3-0. It's real early here, but how much do you have to go on 4th down? Jim Everett is not known as a running quarterback, but if you look at the hole here, when you give him that big a hole and he sees the goal line, he is going to try and get it there. You know, you wonder if he just pushed the ball out a little more, if it wouldn't have been a touchdown. Of course, quarterbacks aren't used to doing that. Watch the blitz here. He sees that hole. He's trying to get there, and you wonder if he just wouldn't have reached the ball a little more, if that wouldn't have done it.
Or if he had gotten his motor started a little bit more quickly.
And the Rams are going for it on 4th down. Now I think they're in a running situation.
Haley was shaken up on that last play. He's on the sideline.
I think the 49ers only had 10 guys on the field, Pat.
Right. Haley came out. Now they hustle someone else out there.
Charles Haley on the sideline. The 49ers have a ritual on Saturday after practice, the day before the game. The whole team comes around and they touch Charles Haley's head for good luck.
John Johnson replaced him. Let's see what happened to Haley if we can.
We can see here that they're going to review the play here too, Pat, to see if Everett did get it in or where it should be marked.
Haley on the bottom of that pile. And he doesn't appear to be seriously shaken. 4th and goal at about the half-yard line. It's Del Pino, and he's in. Touchdown, Rams.
Tell you, there is a happy Jim Everett. You know, it's been one of those things where the burden of this whole offense was on his shoulders, and you know, if you say anything, if you don't accept it, then you're making excuses. If you do accept it, then you take it. And finally, the thing that you need touchdowns. He made a run to get it down here. It's 4th down, a gutsy call by John Robinson, and Del Pino just leaps over everyone into the end zone.
Behind the block of Tutupu. Extra points in Dejas is good. Rams take the lead 7-3. The patented leap. And the Rams are atop the scoreboard.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Shearson Lehman Brothers, you can get there from here. And by Keystone and Keystone Light, bottled beer taste in a can. Wouldn't that be great?
Robert Del Pino, who just scored the touchdown for the Rams to put them ahead 7-3 in the opening seconds of the 2nd quarter at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Zendejas will kick off. Dexter Carter and Spencer Tillman back deep for the 49ers. 9 plays, 80 yards. Del Pino's 1-yard run. But the big dose for the Rams of encouragement was 2 pass completions downfield by Everett. Dexter Carter has Zendejas kick sail over his head, and they down it in the end zone.
Every time we're in there,
And see, of course, that's the reason that you want the wind on that play, because Zendejas was able to put the ball in the 20, although he did have to kick the ball from the dirt. But there's a happy guy in Jim Everett, and just knowing that, you know, that we can move the ball, that we, you know, can get it to our outside receivers, and that we can get it in the end zone.
1st and 10, 49ers at their own 20. Steve Young, the quarterback. Carter in motion. Young on 1st down will throw it. Under the pressure of the Rams and taken down by Carl Wilson. Flushed out by Kevin Green.
Now there is a big guy. Carl Wilson, he's been in the league for 5 years, and just one of those pass rushers, just kind of stay with you, because you don't know if you always think that Young is going to be flushed to the left. So you got to rush from your left and hope that you're the flusher, and then you flush him into Kevin Green. That time, Young came to the side that you're going to flush from, if that makes any sense.
Does to me.
Yeah. There's Kevin Green. He has the job of containing all day. He has to contain Steve Young. Of course, now he's on the other side where he's going to go after him.
Second down, 16 they need. That's going to be out of bounds. Intended for Sanjay Beach. For an NFL update, let's send you again back to New York and Greg Gumbel.
Well, Pat, at Dodger Stadium, the National League West race heats up again. Darryl Strawberry in the first inning with a triple down the right field line to get Mike Sharperson home. Strawberry scored on an Eddie Murray single. It's 2-0 Dodgers in the bottom of the second inning. L.A. began the day leading Atlanta by half a game. Meanwhile, the Red Sox and Yankees are tied at 5 in the 10th inning. Pat?
7-3 at Candlestick. The Rams over the 49ers. 13:33 left before halftime. 3rd and 16. 49ers back at their own 14-yard line. Young to throw it again. Has some time. Has a completion to Taylor. Stewart made the stop on John Taylor, but it's a 49er first down.
It looks like Newman was standing there and kind of misjudged it. They had an extra guy there, and they just had Taylor was out there all by himself. Newman was there, and he reacted to the inside guy, and they threw the ball right by him to John Taylor.
And got the 49ers out of a hole. It's first down now at their own 36.
It would be fun to be a quarterback and have Jerry Rice on one side and John Taylor on the other side, if you had pass protection.
Rice is left, Taylor's right. Young gets it out to Dexter Carter with some room. He's at midfield and into Ram territory. Jerry Gray tripped him up. A gain of 16.
Jesse Sapullo got out there and made a good block on that screen.
They're the first 15 plays, as John Madden said before. Those are scripted by George Seifert. It used to be 25 under Bill Walsh. Now it's 15.
And you can see how balanced it is. The first week they were 9-6 running past. The second week 6-9. The third week 8-7. Now today they weren't as balanced. They passed 11 times and only run 4.
Carter tripped up by Carl Wilson. A gain of 1. The arm got him.
I think that's the thing they have to do to Dexter Carter. You know, he was a #1 draft choice for him, and when they lost Roger Craig to the Raiders to Plan B, then Dexter Carter became their starter. And as you can see, he's not a big, durable, strong running back, so he's not going to run inside a lot and take the pounding. You got to get him outside on sweeps and little screen passes the way they just did.
2nd and 9. Henderson has replaced Carter. 2 tight end setup for the 49ers. The blitz was after Steve Young, who barely got rid of it before he was decked.
And, you know, that was the thing that Joe Montana, and you hate to always compare Joe Montana to Steve Young or Steve Young to Joe Montana, but he used to hit Jerry Rice on the run. You see there, he had the pressure right up the middle. They didn't get Larry Kelm, number 52, blocked. You see, and he has to get rid of the ball. He's looking for Rice all the way to his left, and he just throws it behind him.
3rd down and 8.
Watch Rice here, Pat. He was open. He had that thing. If he hit him in front with a couple strikes, that could have been a big play.
Young gets it out to Keith Henderson this time. Henderson hammers down to the Ram 35. That should be and is enough for a 49er first down. Newman knocked him out of bounds.
That's good mixture. You know that you throw to your tight ends. The 49ers started out, they throw to their tight ends, then they go to the running back, and they try to get the ball to the outside receivers. But again, Henderson is good, the tight ends are good, but your game breakers are those 2 outside guys.
Sherrard this time split wide to the left. Dexter Carter, once he's set, he must stay set, and he moved, and the Rams jumped. And this will be against the 49ers.
False start before the ball was snapped. Number 67 on the offense.
Somebody
Still
else moved
first
too.
down.
Yeah, that's the right guard, Roy Foster. You see him right here, and he's going to move before the ball snaps. You see, once that guy comes down, he's trying to hold, and then he just takes off. Steve Young had about 2 more counts to go before he was going to get the ball.
That'll bring it up 1st and 15. The Rams 7, the 49ers 3. With 10:40 left to play in the first quarter, in the first half. Henderson left side. Picked up 7 yards.
Roy Foster wanted some action. He got the penalty, and then he goes after big Chris Pike. You talk about a big guy. Look at 93. He's like 6'8" and 310 pounds. He's a real journeyman player.
He's got a very bad knee.
You watch him. He started out, and then Foster gets him. Foster gets him going backwards. You see Pike just can't plant that knee. So the play's over, and they're still going after it. That's right. When you're playing down there in the dirt like that in the infield, stuff happens. Strange things happen in football. Don't happen.
Young to Taylor, complete. Was behind him, but he came up with it. Darrell Henley made the stop.
That is one. Wide receivers have a lot of fun when they score touchdowns and they get those things out of bounds. But when they catch that slant in there like that, that is no fun. When you throw that thing in there and you make that catch and you get that boom right there, and then you get spun around and you get that twank right there, that is not fun. But I tell you, all the great ones do it. The average ones don't go inside with the same enthusiasm.
Well, there are 2 great ones on this 49ers team, Rice and Taylor. Here's Young, quickly outside and complete. In the direction of Dexter Carter, that was a mix-up, either on Young's part or Carter's part.
That's what they say when they're not on the same page. When Young is explaining, I'm ready to throw it, I throw it, you got to be looking.
Young is 11 out of 14 for 118 yards.
And he has pretty good distribution. He's thrown 8 to his wide receivers, 3 to the running backs, and 3 to the tight ends. That's moving it around pretty good.
That keeps everyone happy.
Well, the other thing, it doesn't let the defense, and under Jeff Fisher's new Ram defense, they like to gang up on one thing. That's where they know you want to go.
On 2nd down. Hand off to Rathman. Picked up perhaps a yard. Stopped by Kevin Green.
Now, if you talk about the guy that the 49ers have to block, it's number 91, Kevin Green. He's playing a defensive lineman position this year, but it's really no different. He's playing it from a 2-point stance, and he's playing it like an outside linebacker. And you see that time, he was on a stunt. He was coming to the inside, and he stunted right into the run.
2-point stance means he's standing up. 3rd and 9. Rice moves left. Williams splits out wide to the right. Carter goes in motion, and Young goes back to throw it. He's got John Taylor. It'll be shy of 1st down yardage by about 2. Darrell Henley and Larry Kelm made the stop.
Yeah, I think that's what's wrong with the 49ers. They get down there and they get a little too conservative. I mean, you got to get the ball. Your 3rd down, you have to get the ball up beyond the 1st down marker, or you get too many of these. I mean, maybe he could have thrown to Jerry Rice here. Look at this. If you think big, if you look big, if you look for the deep one, you're going to get a touchdown. If you look and you hit the short guy all the time, then you come up with 4th down and you have to kick.
Kofer with Mosienko holding from 30 yards out. They're on the grass. High snap. But Kofer hits it. So it's a 1-point game now. With 7:25 left before halftime, the Rams 7, 49ers 6.
This game summary is sponsored by McDonald's.
To summarize, the Rams have 79 yards passing. The 49ers 125. Del Pino scored the Rams rushing touchdown to make them ahead 7-3, and that's the way it remains. Steve Young is 12 out of 15 for 125 yards. Now, to clarify what the score is, we thought it was 7-6. It's 7-3 because they had the re-kick, and when they came back to re-kick, that was the first attempt. And here they try again.
Here's the first one here. They said that they had illegal motion. And they said that that was a penalty. So there was a penalty against the 49ers. And then they moved them back, and then they missed the field goal.
So the score is 7-3 instead of 7-6. And the Rams take it over with 7:20 left to play in the first half.
And the 49ers just continue to be snake bit inside that 20. You know, I said a week ago they were down inside the 20 4 times, and they only scored once, and now they get down in there. They have to settle for field goals. They have a field goal, and then they get a penalty on the field goal. Then they miss the field goal the next time, and sometimes stuff like that happens to you early, and it takes you half the season to get out of it.
It sort of becomes a mental thing as much as an execution thing. There was one of the finest of all, Joe Montana. First down Rams. They lead 7-3 as Everett gives to Del Pino right side for a gain of about 3. Keith DeLong made the stop.
Hey, one thing that was a big surprise for the 49er defense is Pierce Holt, who was one of their real anchor guys in there, has a bad knee and isn't playing today, and that's Dennis Brown, 96, is playing in his side. They weren't sure if Holt was going to play yesterday. He came out here, he tried it in the pregame warm-up, and you could just see that he couldn't go. So second-year man Dennis Brown is playing that left defensive end.
Haley moves over to the left side. Kevin Fagan was the 49er in the Ram backfield. If somebody pulled, I'm not sure.
False
Perhaps
start
the left tackle.
before the ball was snapped. Number 64 on the offense. Still second down.
Gerald Perry.
You'll see Gerald Perry right here, number 64. Remember, that was a problem. He was a Denver tackle, and he seemed to have that problem there. And he just twinged a little before the ball. Once those guys get down there and they put that hand down, they can't move anything.
2nd and 12. Rams at their own 18, leading 7-3. Everett back to throw it. Up the middle to his tight end, Damone Johnson. A little gain. 4 or 5 yards. Stopped by Romanowski.
Yeah, the Rams have had to rebuild this offensive line, but they're really doing a pretty good job of pass protection today for Jim Everett. They had problems with this last week against the Saints, but if you give Everett a little time with those receivers, let him get in his rhythm. And it looks like in this first half he's just starting to get into his rhythm.
3rd and 8 at the 22, and Everett gives on a draw play to Jim Price for a gain of 11 and a first down. Vernon Turner, I beg your pardon, not Price, who has the number of a wide receiver but nevertheless became a ball carrier. Everett's 5 out of 9 for 83 yards.
Well, you can see, and again, he just looks like a different guy, doesn't he, Pat?
He really does.
I think after he hit that big one to Del Pino and then got one to Henry Ellard, he figured, geez, I can do this. It looks like my offensive line is starting to gel, and I'm going to get something going today.
Cleveland Gary split wide to the left this time. Pass complete to Damone Johnson, the tight end again, a gain of 7. Stopped by Mike Walter.
You know, last week against the New Orleans Saints, the only guy he could hit was Damone Johnson. In fact, going into the fourth quarter, Jim Everett, things were going so poorly for him. He had only completed 4 passes, and those 4 passes were all to his tight end, Damone Johnson.
Speaking of New Orleans, what they did to Minnesota. I think they're better than everybody expected.
Well, they got Bobby Hebert back like we talked about before, and Craig Hayward looks like they're starting to use him as a runner now. And we talked to those 49er players about tackling Craig Hayward. They said that's about the toughest thing you have to do, because you're always taught to hit a guy and to wrap, and there's nothing, you can't wrap your arms around Hayward.
You can't reach around. That's Buford McGee, the ball carrier, who got enough for a first down, I think. Dennis Brown made the stop, but they're going to measure this.
Yeah, the 49ers on defense, they talk about missing Ronnie Lott, who went to plan B to the Raiders, and, maybe they do miss him, but I think they also miss some other guys like Matt Millen. They always had Ronnie Lott. Then up front, they always had some kind of crazy guy. Remember, it used to be at one time it was Jack Reynolds, and then it was Ricky Ellison, and then it was Matt Millen. But look at the starters they've lost. Montana to injury, Lott, Craig, Millen, Brent Jones, their tight end was hurt. Eric Davis and Darryl Pollard, both their left corners are hurt. Helton, Bubba Ferris, they cut. This is a totally different team than the team was in a championship a year ago.
Totally different atmosphere around him. Here's Everett going deep, and he's got a man. Ooh. He had Flipper Anderson with 2 or 3 steps on the secondary. And the ball just hung.
Flipper Anderson, I thought, was faster than that, because it looked like he just didn't have any more speed left in him, because he does have speed, and he's the guy that the Rams try and go too deep. And as John said, when you get him in the open, you got to hit him. But he looked like towards the last 10 yards of his run, he looked like he was struggling. Now watch right here. He just blows by. He's going to have 3 or 4 steps. But you see how he struggled right there? Maybe it's just because the ball was thrown too long.
Or maybe it was just because looking back slowed him down for so long. Second down. Cleveland Gary, and Gary still on his feet. Hammers into 49er territory. Another Ram first down, a 15-yard gain for Cleveland Gary.
And Cleveland Gary is getting out of the doghouse. He fumbled in the first game against Phoenix, didn't play at all the next 2 games. John Robinson said he has to practice better. He said he is practicing better, and he's going to get him into today's game. Now, look at all the 49ers. Every one of them are going for that football. When you get a reputation as a fumbler, I'll tell you, it is really tough, because everyone is trying to knock it out. Maybe that's why they didn't tackle him. They were trying to knock the ball out.
Maybe. Tell you what, if this guy can hang on to the ball, he's a good back. Here's Everett in the pocket. Good time. Has Everett. First down Rams at 49er 27. Don Griffin made the stop, a gain of 15.
Yeah, and you talk about time, that's the key thing. That's the key thing. Jim Everett has time. See Haley stunting there? They pick up the stunt. They keep the back in there, Buford McGee, and then Everett not only can throw and have good arm, but he has clean feet. He can step up and throw the ball.
John Robinson very upset about something. First and 10 Rams. They're at the San Francisco 27. Reverse coming with Vernon Turner. Out of 1 tackle, gets inside the 20, about the 17. Fumble. Henry Ellard picked it up, and he moves it down inside the 10. Don Griffin made the initial hit that knocked the ball loose.
I tell you, they're trying to get Vernon Turner on plays. We saw him run a draw play. Now they put him at end, and he's a kick returner too, and a good runner in the open field. So here they bring him on a reverse. Again, the 49ers still going for the ball, but that time it was his own guy, Duval Love, that knocked it out of there.
The Braves and the Dodgers, a pennant race going down to the wire. See Atlanta battle Houston or LA face San Francisco next Saturday.
Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Pat Summerall with John Madden. The Rams on the move. They lead 7-3. The 49ers had cut that margin to 7-6 with a field goal by Cofer. field goal was negated. And they missed the second attempt. And now the officials are reviewing that last play, the fumble by Turner, which Ellard picked up.
Following a review by the replay official, the runner is ruled down at the 19-yard line. It'll be second down and 2.
What they were saying is that Turner was down there, which means that they had to blow the whistle when he went down. Now the key word is the whistle. Did the whistle blow? Now, if they blew the whistle, then the ball's dead. So they're saying on the field that when Turner went down, the whistle blew, so there was no fumble. So if there's no fumble, of course, then Henry Ellard can't advance it. See, and the real blow came from number 67, his own man, Duval Love.
So that, instead of a first down, is second and 2. Here's Everett back to throw it. And has his man, Duval Love. Damone Johnson, I beg your pardon.
Yeah,
Romanowski.
Damone Johnson used to be kind of a blocking tight end, remember? And then on pass downs, they'd always bring in Pete Holohan. Now they leave Damone Johnson in as a pass receiver, too, and he's turned out to be pretty good. I mean, he gets open. He's a big guy, big target, can run a little after he catches a ball. And, of course, he's a graduate of that football factory down south here, Cal Poly. San Luis Obispo, California.
Okay. All right.
What a factory. They got to break that place up.
First and goal. That's Cleveland Gary to about the 4.5-yard line. A gain of 4. Keith DeLong on the bottom of the pile.
This shows real confidence, I think, by John Robinson in not only putting Cleveland Gary back in the game. I mean, eventually you have to do that. If he's going to be your guy, you either got to play him or you got to get rid of him. But the closer you get to the goal line and you leave him in, that's really showing confidence. He just took him out now. He got inside the 5, but leaving him in there inside the 10 and running the ball is a show of confidence.
51 seconds left to play in the first half. This is a Ram timeout. 7-3 they lead. Back at Candlestick Park, 51 seconds left to play in the first half. Rams have 1 timeout left. The 49ers have 2. Second and goal from just inside the 5. Ellard split wide left, Anderson right. Del Pino and McGee, the 2 running backs, quickly incomplete in the direction of Ellard. Don Griffin was on Ellard's back as the 49ers blitzed Everett.
I tell you, that is great coverage by Don Griffin, because that's a tough one. If you get there too quickly, it's going to be pass interference, and if you don't get there quick enough, it's going to be a touchdown. Now watch here. You see the room he gives him here. He has a cushion here. Boom, he's going to hit the slant in there, and Griffin has to get him, have good coverage, because there's a lot of room in there, and he was right there with him.
Third down. Incomplete. Again intended for Ellard. Covered this time by Kevin Lewis. And we'll see Zendejas.
They're not going to get much better shot at a touchdown than they had on that second down pass to Henry Ellard, because that was a lot of room, and it was great coverage by Don Griffin, because he had no help in there on that slant at all. That was a big window to throw the football in.
Zendejas with Mike Pagel, the backup quarterback, holding. 22 yards out. And the Rams now lead it 10-3 with 41 seconds left to play in the first half. 41 seconds left to play in the first half at Candlestick Park. As you look at some of the other scores around the league, San Diego leading Denver in the second quarter. Kansas City 10-0 over Seattle. That's the final. The Redskins remain unbeaten. Eagles improved to 3-1. Giants even it at 2-2. So is Cleveland. Houston lost the first time to New England. Detroit wins again. They're 3-1. Don Shula got number 300. Atlanta beat the Raiders. And here it is 10-3. The Rams kicking off. Zendejas. Line drive kick. Goes out of bounds. 49ers can take it at their 35 if they so choose, which I'm sure they will.
You know, Zendejas wasn't trying to do that. That wasn't an onside kick. That was one of those line drive things that you try and kick and have the wedge handle so there's no return. There's Mike Holmgren. He's usually up in the box. Just before halftime, they start down, so he calls the plays from the sidelines.
Don't forget, coming up on the NFL Today, Dockers halftime report. Greg and Terry with all the scores, highlights, and latest information from around the NFL. Here at Candlestick Park, it's the Rams 10, the 49ers 3. 49ers ball with 41 seconds left to play in the first half. Steve Young back to throw. Gets it outside to Keith Henderson, who gets out of bounds. Pickup of 9 yards. 36 seconds left to play in the first half.
The Ram defense has done a good job in this first half of keeping the 49er offense under control. You know, Steve Young has completed 12 out of 15, but it's not getting him anything. And the biggest thing is he's only run the ball one time. So they've kept him pretty well controlled and contained.
2nd and 1. 3 wide receivers left for the 49ers, but they get the ball to Rice. And Rice gets to the Ram 45. Flag on the play. 11-yard pickup.
Timeout.
That's the thing
2.
that the Rams are talking about is Jerry Rice is going to catch his passes. John Taylor will catch his passes, but when they do, you have to tackle them. You can't let them run through your defense. Now here they do this. You see, they had 3 receivers to the left, but Steve Young is watching Jerry Rice all the way. He's going to go there. Now he catches the ball, and boom, you get the tackler there, and then you get another tackler there, and he goes right down. He doesn't make any more yardage.
Face mask.
Maybe a face mask.
28 on the defense. 5 yards added to the end of the run. First down.
Newman, who helped with the tackle, got the face mask in the process. It's 1st and 10, 49ers at the Ram 40. 29 seconds left to play in the first half. The 49ers have 1 timeout left. Young back to throw it. Mike Sherrard, and he gets it out of bounds at about the Ram 12, knocked out by Stewart.
And that was a drop coverage. Pat Sherrard was out there in the left, and there's no one on him. He's all by himself. You watch him here. He starts in. You see they double the guy that's coming short, and Sherrard is the guy that's going deep, and no one goes with him. 2 guys take the short guy.
And Steve Young came off after they called the timeout. Young was limping.
Watch what happens. When the short guy comes in here, 2 guys come with him, and then here's Sherrard right here. He goes deep, and no one goes with him. You see it from the outside. You see if we can stop it right now. We'll see these 2 guys both come here. Now here's Sherrard, and he's going to run free to that position. 2 guys go with the short. No one goes with the deep. If you're going to have that as a defensive coach, you'd rather have the opposite. 2 guys go with the deep, and no one go with the short.
22 seconds remain first half. Rams leading 10-3. Carter in motion. Young is back to throw it. Seems okay. 49ers to John Taylor from 12 yards out.
That's the type of drive that Joe Montana usually does. You know, there's 30 or 40 seconds. The Rams start to feel comfortable. They got him. They have a bad kickoff. And then Steve Young makes some big throws.
You forget about the significance of that bad kickoff. So they got the ball at the 35.
And then you forget about that bad coverage where Sherrard catches a deep one.
10-10 tie with 18 seconds left to play in the first half. Young was 4 out of 4 on that drive. Here's the 4th one.
You see, they got 3 receivers on this side. The motion man goes outside. They get a man-to-man coverage here, just what they want. It was Michael Stewart. You see Stewart kind of went to hit him or tackle him, and he lost his footing. And then Steve Young was watching him all the way, and there's nothing Stewart could do about it. That's a pretty good matchup when you can get John Taylor, your wide receiver, on their strong safety.
Stewart slipped on that dirt around where home plate is when they play baseball here at Candlestick.
That was probably one of the matchups that Jeff Fisher didn't want. He would rather, you would think you'd rather always have a cornerback instead of a safety on both Jerry Rice and John Taylor, and then maybe even Mike Sherrard.
4 plays, 23 seconds is all it took to go 65 yards and score that touchdown. Young to Taylor.
Young probably knew that all along, but if he didn't know how to do it all along, he had many years of watching Joe Montana do that.
We've seen it happen many times.
As long as we have the ball and there's time in the clock, we can score a touchdown.
18 seconds left. Turner and Lang. This is Vernon Turner. A squib kick. Handled by one of the up linemen, Mike McDonald. The only other time he touches the ball is to snap it for punts.
But, you know, it seems like every time they kick a short one into the wedge, it seems like old Mike McDonald gets it, though. Yeah. I'll bet you for an old, an old lineman type of guy, he probably has more kickoff returns than any other old lineman type guy there is.
He had a recent haircut.
I think he just kind of keeps it that way.
Yeah, I think so. 10-10. Everett not going to sit on it. Has a lot of time, and now he's going to take off with it. Slides at midfield, and that should take care of the first half.
That's when you have that kind of speed like Jim Everett. You go to run, and you run out the clock.
That's the end of the first half. With the score, the Rams 10, the 49ers 10.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by your Toyota dealers and their quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. McDonald's, getting more for your money. That's McDonald's today. And by Heineken, just being the best is enough. The NFL Today Dockers Halftime Report is sponsored by Levi's Dockers. Relax, you're among friends.
Welcome back, everyone, to our studio in New York. Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw. Not a bad football game you're watching at the moment. Halftime at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The Rams and the 49ers tied at 10. Robert Del Pino, a 1-yard touchdown run, and Steve Young to John Taylor, 12 yards for the 49ers touchdown, a field goal apiece, and it's 10-10 at the half. Tampa Bay is hosting Buffalo this afternoon. They're approaching halftime. The Bills have a touchdown on Carwell Gardner's 1-yard touchdown run. Jim Kelly has thrown for 233 yards, but still only 7 points on the board for the Bills. They lead at 7-0. The Chargers and the Broncos field goal contest. They're at halftime at Mile High Stadium tied at 6. And they're at halftime in Kansas City with the Chiefs leading the Seahawks 10-0. Steve DeBerg, an 18-yard touchdown pass to Tim Barnett. Earlier today, the Washington Redskins kept their record perfect with a 4-0 mark now with a victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. Brian Mitchell, a 66-yard punt return to put the Redskins on top by a score of 24-10. And on the sidelines, Bengal coach Sam Weiss, golf or tennis, anyone? But fourth quarter tied at 27 apiece. Gerald Riggs, who scored 3 touchdowns today, gets the game winner from 7 yards out. Cincinnati 0-4. Pittsburgh at Philadelphia. The Eagles won at 23-14. Jim McMahon, a 1-yard touchdown run here to tie the game at 7. And then they were all over Bubby Brister as the Eagles put 10 unanswered points on the board in the second half. The Eagles over the Steelers by a score of 23-14. Meanwhile, at the Meadowlands, the Giants over the Cleveland Browns 13-10 today. Rodney Hampton, 104 yards, and this 28-yard touchdown run to put the Giants up 13-0. And then the defense took over. The defense sacking Bernie Kosar 4 times today and held off the Browns. The Giants win at 13-10 to even their record at 2-2. At New England, Hugh Millen came through late for the Patriots.
There's nothing like fresh blood put into a lineup. Hugh Millen comes in, leads. Nice job, McMurtry. right at the end of the game, then the emotion, the adrenaline I think Coach McPherson has brought to the Patriots is certainly paying off.
Houston's first loss of the year. Meanwhile, in New Orleans, the Saints remain perfect against the Vikings. Herschel Walker.
Can't lift your feet. You lose all your power as a running back when you're trying to get short yardage if you leave your feet.
He had just 14 yards rushing today. Meanwhile, Craig Hayward scored 2 TDs. New Orleans is perfect at 4-0. At Indianapolis, that man, Robert Irsay, looking on and in the face of a lot of pressure from his fans, saw his team come up short again. Big day for Barry Sanders and the Lions.
This is what he does so great. He stretches the defense one way. They stop him, or at least it appears that way. He reverses field, great quickness and speed, and scores.
That man, win number 300 of his career, Don Shula of the Miami Dolphins. He got some help from Don Majkowski here, who fumbled in the end zone. Miami recovered. Dan Fouts talked with Don Shula after the game.
I'd like someday to win the most games, but right now, if everything happens within the framework of a playoff team or a Super Bowl team, that's what makes it all worthwhile.
Congratulations, Don. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations indeed to Don Shula. And in Atlanta, the Falcons knocked off the Los Angeles Raiders 21-17. Watch Deion Sanders on the blitz, hits Jay Schrader. The fumble is picked up by Jesse Tuggle. He returns 19 yards for the touchdown. Chris Miller threw for 2 touchdowns today, 240 yards all told, as the Falcons beat the LA Raiders. But let's go back to Don Shula for a moment. He actually coached you at one point.
He did. First of all, congratulations to Don. And I had the privilege of playing against him in playoff games and regular season games, beat him sometimes. But the real key was in 1969, he coached me in the North-South, the Senior Bowl game down in Alabama. So I'll always remember that. A living legend. You saw it today.
Second only to George Halas. Let's update you on Major League Baseball. In the National League, the Pittsburgh Pirates have become the first National League team to win back-to-back divisional titles in 13 years. They beat the Phillies today. Doug Drabeck, their Cy Young Award winner, gets Charlie Hayes on the strikeout, and the Pirates beat the Phillies today by a score of 2-1 to clinch the National League East. In the National League West, the Dodgers lead the Atlanta Braves 3-0 in the 4th inning now. Ramon Martinez, the pitcher, tags a solo home run in the 4th inning. That gives the Dodgers a 3-run lead. They started the day a half game up on the Atlanta Braves in the National League West. The Boston Red Sox, starting the day a half game back of Toronto in the American League East, fell to the New York Yankees in 10 innings by a score of 7-5. Bernie Williams, with a bases-loaded double in the top of the 10th, won it for the Yankees. The Texas Rangers lose to the Minnesota Twins 9-4, and the Twins go up on Chicago by 7.5 games. The White Sox hosting the California Angels, and that is in the 9th inning now in Chicago. The White Sox trail the California Angels by a score of 4-2. And the NFL today continues here on CBS after this word from your local station.
Halftime at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The Rams 10, the 49ers 10, and I'm Pat Summerall along with John Madden. We'll be back in just a moment.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Cadillac and your local Cadillac dealer. Discover how substance is taking shape, Cadillac style. Hewlett-Packard laser jet printers. They'll get you noticed. And by Miller Lite. It's it. And that's that.
Absolutely a gorgeous day here at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The Rams 10, the 49ers 10. Start of the 3rd quarter coming up. Both teams began the day at 1-2. And somewhat disappointed, I think, with their beginning. John Robinson, the Ram coach, saw his team build a 10-3 lead and then let it get away in the closing seconds before the end of half number 1. How do you see the second half developing, John?
Well, I think the thing is that both of them got some confidence in the first half. They both got some confidence in their pass protection. Neither one of them had any running game whatsoever. I mean, Del Pino had gained like 7 yards, and he was the leading rusher for the Rams, and the leading rusher for the 49ers was Carter, and he'd run for 7 yards. So we haven't had a running game out there in this first half. I think both of these teams are disappointed at being 1-2, and they don't want to panic. They're trying not to panic, but I think the team that loses this second half will start getting in position to panic. You know, one team's going to be 2-2, and they have another week and then a bye, and they figure they'll be able to regroup, get healthy, and those type of things. But the one that loses, it could be tough.
It really could be, especially the way New Orleans is playing, and they're 4-0 after shutting out Minnesota today. Atlanta's 2-2. They beat the Raiders, the Rams 1-2, and the 49ers 1-2.
That's what I'm saying. I think the winner of this game will feel pretty good about themselves, and the loser of the game may start to get in position, whatever that may be, however you do that, to panic.
Zendejas will kick it off. Short kick. Going to be Dexter Carter. Has it bounced. That ball's free, and Carter jumps, brings it down, gets to the 22. Roman Pfeiffer down to knock him down, along with Cruz.
Well, that was a funny-looking ball. You know, if you tried to do that, that's what you would try and do. If they don't get the block down there, someone gets a good block on the ram in coverage, and that allows Carter to catch that ball. Because, as you say, this is a live ball, and whoever gets it, you know, is going to get the ball. There's a good block right there, and another good block in front of that was by Greg Cox.
So it's 1st and 10, San Francisco at their own 24. 10-10 tie. Carter was the man in motion, and Young goes right to the air. Wheels it outside the Raptors. To about the 28, a pickup of 5. Stopped by Fairnez.
Hey, you talk about a guy who everyone's pointing to as Charles Haley. The Rams' whole offense is based on where Haley is, and they're sliding to him and blocking him and doubling him. And you can look at the uniform. If you're a defensive lineman, you don't mind having mud and dirt on your front. You don't want mud and dirt on your back.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah, I mean, that means that you've been getting blocked. And Haley's one of those guys who doesn't get blocked a lot, but when he gets blocked, he takes some funny positions.
He really does. 2nd and 5. Young out the flat. Intended Rathman incomplete. Stewart was the nearest defender, but that's a pass that should have been complete.
And the guy that was right in his face was Kevin Green. You know, we talked about Green. He knows he has containment. Now watch 91 here. He has to contain Young and be waiting for him right there. So Young knows when he comes there, he's going to have Kevin Green looking him right in the face, so he has to get rid of the ball quickly, and he's been able to do that on that bootleg left all day.
3rd and 5. Henderson now as the lone setback. 4 wide receivers for the 49ers. Back to throw. The blitz from the outside by Sammy Lilly. Young had to unload in a hurry.
He had to unload because Sammy Lilly was out there and he wasn't counted for. You look, Sammy Lilly's going to come from the outside. No one picks him up. You see, it looks like he's covering out there, and then he just comes right there. You see, and they don't have anyone to pick him up. He was on one of the wide receivers, so they didn't count him as a rusher. They counted him as a covered guy.
Mosienko back to punt. Left-footed. Has struggled of late. End-over-end kick. Going to be handled by Henley. Henley back to about the 43. Flag on the play. A fight going on back on the dirt of the infield.
This is a real fight. That's 4-on-1. That's no fair. There's an official on the ground in the middle of that, Pat. He just got up. I think there has to be some penalties on this one. I mean, this one, those were slugs, and you could see fists fly and the official down. I think there has to be a flag. I think there has to be a penalty, and maybe even someone has to go out of the game.
There is a flag.
You know, this started early in the day. Remember, the first one on Sammy Lilly was a 15-yard penalty on the opening kickoff. Now, that's what happens when they double that. I mean, I don't know. Newman and Stewart are out there, and what they're doing is not legal, is not fair. If you were in the streets, you'd call 911.
Spencer Tillman is the 49er.
Unnecessary roughness both ways after the play was over. Be first down and 10.
That's a terrible call. That's what's stupid about these rules. They call it on both ways. Someone has to do it. As long as you call it both ways and then there's no penalty, that's going to continue. They have to get the guys that started it. I mean, Newman and Stewart dodged a bullet. They got away with one there. I mean, they mugged Spencer Tillman. And then the officials down, there's a fight, and then they say it's even. That's one of the dumbest rules that there is in this game.
1st and 10 Rams at their own 43. The handoff is to Buford McGee, and he gets very little. A couple of yards. Carter made the stop.
Yeah, we talked about how Charles Haley, wherever he lines up on the right side, the left side, in the middle, and the Rams are calling plays, and then they're going check with me. And if you look here, here's the Rams offense here. Charles Haley lined up on the right side defense 11 times, on the left side 16, and then 2 times he lined up in the middle. So what happens, the Rams go up like this, check with me, find Haley, then call their play.
Everett back to throw it. Into the pocket and up. And covers up at about the 43. Keith DeLong made sure he stayed down, a loss of 2. So it'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Everett has run more today than I think I've seen him in his whole career. In fact, one of them was almost for a touchdown. You talk about guys that get mugged. Even Mike Ditka said it a week ago. He said that guy out in San Francisco is always getting held and choked and grabbed and everything. There, Gerald Perry just goes right that left hand, boom, throw it right up to his throat.
3rd and 10. Ellard and Anderson split out. Everett scrambled out of the pocket, or almost did, and down he goes. He twisted his ankle, I think, when he fell, or somebody fell on it, but he's in obvious pain.
And that's where they missed Jackie Slater. Duval Love, a guard, is playing that right tackle. That's where the pressure came from. The Rams only have one other quarterback. That's Mike Pagel. You see the pressure right there. In fact, it looked like it was his own guy, Duval Love. Larry Roberts is 91, and he's rushing into number 67. You see him, and he just pushes him right there. See, right there into Everett. Then it looked like his left leg kicked him, and then Everett spun around like a pirouette on his left ankle.
And he's still down. Again, they only have one other quarterback. There's the other, Mike Pagel.
Yeah, it was ironic. In the first half, they did not sack Everett, and then they've just had 2 in a row here. You'll see it here. It's going to come from number 67, Duval Love. See, he's trying to get out of the way. Love hits him there, and then it looks like he plants his foot and goes to spin, and that's where he got it twisted. Although he's walking okay right now.
And walking off. Here we think is what happened to Jim Everett. Watch his left arm.
And you see, again, Duval Love is going to come in and he tries to fend him off right there. See with the left hand? Then the left shoulder goes before he ever hits the ground. See it right there? He fell on the left shoulder, but I think the left shoulder was hurt or maybe popped out before he ever hit the ground.
So the Rams will have to punt. Good kick this time, John Taylor. Handles at the 25. The Rams down in good coverage, but Taylor gets out of the punt. So Taylor could be gone. Fumble! And the Rams say they have the ball back. And they do. Taylor broke about 3 tackles, but forgot the ball.
The Rams, that's the good news for the Rams, is that they got the ball back. The bad news is they don't have Jim Everett ready to play. This was going to be a big one. He looks like he's going to make cut back against the grain. But you see, in doing so, the ball was out there. So he was holding the ball outside. Then he went to bring it in, and that's when it was knocked out, again, by Sammy Lilly.
Jim Price made the recovery. That's the first turnover of the game, and it goes in favor of the Rams, who have it 1st and 10 at the 49 or 48 with Mike Pagel, the quarterback. That's Del Pino. Very, very little. DeLong and Walter.
You know, it's interesting, Pat. The Rams teach to strip, and they say that there's 3 pressure points. One is right here where the fingers have to be in the front of the ball. 2 is a forearm where you lock the ball into the forearm, and the 3rd point is the body. So it's 1 pressure point here, 2 pressure points here, and 3. And then when you go to hit the guy, you got to hit one of those pressure points. Now watch here, as the ball comes out, you see right there, they go and they grab the back arm so it can't get into the body or the elbow. So they got 2 pressure points.
Hagel has the pass knocked down, a penalty flag down on the play.
False start. Number 64 on the offense. Before the ball was snapped, second down.
That's Gerald Perry's second one, but again, part of that can be Gerald Perry. The other part can be a new quarterback with a different cadence. You can see again Jim Everett looked like when he tried to push off a Duval Love or keep him from hitting. He did it with his left hand, and then the pressure went up there to that left shoulder.
And you could see he was in pain long before he hit the ground.
Right, and they're trying to see if he has strength in his left hand and also check his range of motion.
2nd and 14. Hagel, the quarterback. Back to throw it. Pass almost picked off by Keith DeLong. He had it, juggled it, and lost it.
Hey, I don't know that, you know, again, a backup quarterback doesn't play in the game, and he doesn't get a lot of practice either, a lot of repetitions or snaps or whatever they call them. And then, you know, so they get in, they're just very rusty early.
The Rams again have only 2 quarterbacks.
And you can see, I've always felt that you have to carry 3. You can see that there are 7 teams in the NFL that carry 2. 21 of them carry 3. The Rams are getting ready to carry 3. Now they're putting a rib pad, it looked like, on Jim Everett. Or maybe that's a shoulder harness. I guess that would be. See, the rib thing is down below. How that's going to help the shoulder, I have no idea. If they're going to make a harness out of the rib pad.
3rd down. Hagel back in the pocket. Gets it outside, incomplete, intended for Vernon Turner. If that's any indication, it's going to be a long second half for the Rams.
I think that on the sideline there, Jim Everett and that group over there is going to do everything they can to get those shoulder pads on and get him back in the game. And the fact that we just have that shot where he's starting to put his shoulder pads on, I think means he's going to try it again today.
Taylor fumbles the punt. Into the end zone it goes. The momentum took it into the end zone. They're saying a 52-yard punt against the wind. Greg Cox.
See, and this is what they call a muff. Taylor never had control of the ball. So it goes in the end zone, then it'll come out to the 20. If he caught that ball and fumbled it, then, of course, it could have been a touchdown if the Rams recover it.
Todd Light was the man down for the Rams to cover it. The man who shoved Taylor right here.
And you see what happened? He just got his hands in too close, and that ball hit him right on the shoulder pad.
And Greg Cox made the recovery. Jim Everett back in pads now, has a bruised left shoulder.
I think it's more than a bruised left shoulder, because when we saw it hit, I mean, it wasn't where he fell on it, because that thing was hurt before he ever hit the ground.
8 out of 15 for 116 yards before he left. Here's Steve Young, the 49er ball at their own 20. Pass for Everett incomplete. For Taylor incomplete. Knocked down by Henley. Everett over on the sideline.
Again, you see, he's trying to see if he can get that hand up there and if he can handle the handoff. See, the right hand is the ball that takes the snap. He has a right hand, The left hand just takes it. So he's checking to see if he can take the snap. He says that's okay. He knows he can throw the ball, and he checked to see if he can hand it off.
He's saying, yes, I can.
I'll tell you, the one thing that he probably can't do is take a shot on that left shoulder. So you talk about pass protection being important. It's even more important.
This is Dexter Carter with running room. Knocked out of bounds at the 40 by Sammy Lilly. 20-yard gain, however.
Darrell Henley, the corner on that side, number 20, got caught inside. So Carter was able to bounce it to the outside. It was caught inside. Plus, there was a little block out there by John Taylor.
First down, 49ers. 10-10 the score. 10-10 left in the third quarter. Carter goes in motion. Young, quick delivery to Rice, incomplete. Juggled it, lost it.
Well, you aren't going to see that often, but he has one. It looks like he took his eyes off the ball there. There were three guys waiting for him. Number 37, Pat Terrell, was in there inside, and he was going to have that collision. And one thing the Rams didn't give is a big window for Jerry Rice to catch the ball. Watch it here. He has to catch it between Henley and the safety right there. And you see, he went to catch it, and he looked up to see where 37 was.
Took a little glance.
Yep. Jerry Rice sneaked a peek. You won't see that often.
Carter. Rambles for a 49er first down across into Ram territory. Stopped by Jerry Gray, finally.
Yeah, Jeff Fisher was saying last night that they had poor tackling last week. He said they didn't miss any tackles in the first quarter. Then they missed about 5 in the second quarter. And every quarter they started missing more tackles. And I think the same thing is true here so far. They've missed more tackles right now in this third quarter than they did the first 2 quarters combined.
9:25 left to play in the third quarter. First and 10 49ers at the Ram 46. Fake by Young, gets away from one Ram tackler, taken down by Carl Wilson. Chris Pike was the first one there. He's the man he had to duck.
Yeah, that's the thing. You see it, and usually they thought that every time that Young would be flushed, he'd be flushed to the left. This is the second one that Carl Wilson got when the guy was flushed to his side. Harris Barton is blocking him there, and usually every time Young moves, he always runs to his left. But again, that's the second time he's gone to his right, and both times Carl Wilson came up with a sack.
Second and 19, a loss of 9. Henderson the lone setback behind Young. Protection is adequate this time, and the pass is caught by Taylor, who slips out of the grasp of one tackler and runs for a first down. 18-yard pickup. Maybe he got a first down.
I'll tell you, if Michael Stewart, number 23, tackles him when he first hit him and wrapped him up, then he wouldn't have made the first down. But he missed the tackle. Stewart missed the tackle, and Taylor was able to go another couple yards. Watch him here. He catches the ball. You see right there is a missed tackle. Now then Taylor can not only pick up a couple more yards, but he can get down and get underneath.
The missed tackles for the Rams today.
Well, you can see in the first quarter they missed 2, second quarter 2, and now the third quarter is when they're starting to maybe wear down a little.
Third and very, very short.
You can tell they're bringing in their short yardage offense. 49ers are sending in their 2 tight ends and their big running backs. So you would expect that they're going to go for the run and pick up the first down, although this would be an excellent time for a play pass. I bet the Ram defense would really bite on a fake of a run here.
I think they might have it called. Straight ahead, first down. Larry Kelm made the stop.
I think Steve Young is probably the quickest quarterback that I've ever seen. I mean, most quarterbacks kind of take that quarterback sneak and they just kind of fall, flop, and lumber. I mean, he took that thing, boom, he went like he was shot. Watch him. I mean, he just take that thing and he starts running the minute that ball comes out of there. Larry Kelm didn't have a chance to stop him before he got the first down.
First down at the Ram 34, 10-10 tie. Carter to about the 30. Gain of 4, stopped by Michael Stewart. Jim Everett over on the sideline.
Right to Jim Everett's left is Clarence Shields, the orthopedic doctor for the Rams, and he's also the surgeon that did the surgery on Randall Cunningham. Supposedly the surgery was successful on a real difficult knee, and they expect Randall Cunningham to be fine by next year.
Next year. In the meantime, Jim McMahon is leading the Eagles, and their record is 3-1. Young back to throw. They pick up the blitz. Young gets it out, incomplete. Intended for Taylor, or Sherrard this time. Defended by Henley.
I'll tell you who made a heck of a play was Robert Young, number 76, because there was a hole where Steve Young could run, and Young, the rookie, comes running right up in that hole. You see that? There was a hole there. Now, the guy was outside him and inside him. Young could have ran, but Young just took that hole on Young. Robert Young took the hole on Steve Young, the quarterback. This guy is going to be a good player. He's only a rookie. I'm talking about Robert Young, but he's a big guy. He's like 6'6", 280 pounds. I saw him at training camp. He is going to really be something in this league.
3rd and 6 from the 30. Protection, and the pass is broken up. Intended for Taylor. Defended by Darrell Henley. That Rams secondary is an excellent part of their defensive unit.
Well, you watch Henley out there, and it's going to be an out. Now, he makes a good break on that out. That is a dangerous break there, because if it goes over his head, that's a touchdown for Taylor. He took a chance. He gambled on that one, took that angle in front, and if he catches it, it could have been a touchdown for Henley.
So Kofor will try from 47 yards out. Certainly far enough. And good. And the 49ers have the lead. Kofor hits from 47 yards out. 13-10 in the third quarter.
The Braves and the Dodgers, a pennant race going down to the wire. See Atlanta battle Houston or LA face San Francisco next Saturday.
When the day began, Atlanta was a half game behind the Dodgers. Boston was 1 game. That is current. Boston a game behind Toronto now. And that's why it's up to date. The Yankees beat Boston 7-5. And the Dodgers, after 6 innings, lead Atlanta 3-0. So that could all change those standings. 13-10 here at Candlestick. Vernon Turner will handle it at the 5 for the Rams with the wedge in front of him. The wedge and Turner both collapse. Darren Jordan down quickly for the 49ers. The Rams take over at their own 22. Pat Summerall with John Madden at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The Rams trail the 49ers 13-10. 6:39 left to play in the third quarter. And Jim Everett is back at quarterback for the Rams. He missed 1 series. Cleveland Gary is the running back. And the handoff is to Gary. Out to about the 25, a gain of 3. Romanowski made the stop.
You can still see that the left arm is bothering him. This is going to be one of the tougher things to do, where you have to come back and hand off. He takes it, of course, and he just puts it in his right hand and hands it off. But you can see how he's protecting that left shoulder by keeping the left elbow in close to his body. The important thing is going to be is, one, can he throw in rhythm? And then maybe the most important thing is what's going to happen when one of these 49ers hit him.
Back to throw is Everett. Pass complete to Price. And that'll be enough for a Ram first down. A gain of 11. Todd Bowles made the stop.
You know, we know how important that pass protection is. The Rams are already playing without Jackie Slater. Bernd Brostek, who is their starting left guard, went out with an ankle and won't be back today. So Newberry, the starting center, is playing left guard. Doug Smith is back at center. They only have one other offensive lineman dressed today, and that's Jackie Slater, who himself has a bad right shoulder.
And John Robinson told me before the game he didn't want to put him in unless he absolutely had to. Pass complete again to Price. Into 49er territory to about the 43. Waymer made the stop. 21-yard pickup.
And I would think if you're a Ram and you ever needed pass protection, it's right now. Conversely, if you're a 49er, if you ever needed pass rush, it's right now. And of course, the 49ers, you talk about guys, they're playing without Pierce Holt. So they need a pass rush, and if they're going to get it, the only guy that there really looks like is going to give them any problem is Charles Haley has to get it for him now.
And the Rams, as you said a moment ago, coming into this game, were very much aware of number 94 and where he lines up. The handoff is to Gary. Gary, not much. Line of scrimmage, stopped by Romanowski.
Now you can tell Jim Everett, I wouldn't be surprised if something popped out on that because he is really holding his left arm differently. I mean, you can just see the way that left shoulder's hurting him by how he carries his left hand, arm, and elbow. Now watch Cleveland Gary. He is so conscious of fumbling. At the end, he is going to put it away. He was so conscious of putting it away with both hands that it almost slid out. He was squeezing it so hard.
Everett gets out of the pocket. Pass batted down by Keith DeLong, intended for Carter. Everett does not want to take a shot on that left shoulder.
Well, Michael Carter was right on him. If anyone was going to give him a shot, it was Michael Carter. He was as close as you can get, but Everett was going to get rid of that thing before 95 got there.
Look how he's carrying that left arm.
Yeah, you see 95, there's Michael Carter coming right there, and Everett's throwing it, and he has yet to take any kind of hit.
3rd and 11. Gary, or Del Pino rather, is the lone setback now behind Everett. He stays in to protect. Everett gets the ball to Flipper Anderson. And a first down, Ram. Everett is down.
Well, he did take that first hit, Pat. Larry Roberts did it. Number 91, you said that he hadn't taken a hit yet. Watch 91 from Everett's left side. You see he hits him, and look at Everett fell right on that left hand, arm, and shoulder.
And you can see he's in pain again.
Well, that had to be. I mean, that was the one that's going to be the real test. You know, can he handle that one? You can see the pressure he's had today. He's been sacked twice, hurried 6 times, knocked down 7. He's only knocked down and hit once since he's had the injury. That was descended by Larry Roberts.
3 minutes left, 3rd quarter, 1st and 10. Everett for Ellard. Incomplete, no flag. Kevin Lewis with Ellard.
Ellard is back there. He wants the flag. He says he got hit before the ball got there.
Still says it.
Everett is something here with his rhythm, getting that ball out before the rushers get there and getting that ball in there like that. I don't know that wasn't interference. It looked like he had a hold of Ellard's chest with his right hand.
It's either interference or very good defense.
Or very, very close to being interference and you just don't call it.
Or clever or whatever.
Too close to call.
2nd and 10. Everett to Gary. To about the 31, a gain of 1. Darren Jordan made the stop.
This is a thing here, 3rd and 9. Again, we talked about the problem of kicking. You got to kick here from the dirt into the wind. This is a a tough place to have to kick a field goal. So if they can pick up another 7 or 8 yards, even if they don't get a first down, it may not be a bad play.
Everett back to throw. The 49ers blitz to Anderson to the 15. That's first down Rams, a gain of 16, stopped by Todd Bowles and Kevin Lewis. Anderson wide open.
And look at the protection here. This is what they have to have. You have a quarterback that is injured, and he's standing in there. But look at this protection. They do an excellent job of letting Everett get back there and giving him time. Of course, he's getting rid of the ball quickly. And here's Flipper Anderson. He's running a crossing pattern. He's a speed. You can go deep up the field, or you can go across the field. That time he went across the field.
Since he was hurt, Everett is 4 out of 6 for 60 yards. Since he came back to throw it again. Incomplete. Intended for Damone Johnson. Flag on the play as Haley is going to be flagged. That's going to be against number 94.
That was just a penalty out of frustration. I think, you know, maybe this is the thing that's getting the rhythm back, but watch the late hit. That's just a little push. The thing is, Damone Johnson wasn't expecting it. I think he went a little more than he really had to. I don't know that. I mean, they let some flagrant stuff go away that they didn't penalize, and they got him for a little push there.
Conduct. Number 94 on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
But Ernie Zampese, the offensive coordinator of the Rams, always has this theory, and he always says, you know, get back and unload the ball. And I think Ernie's up there in the press box. He's right here. That's Ernie Zampese, but he always says, don't hold it. Get back there and get rid of it. And I think this shoulder injury is the thing that has put Jim Everett back into that Zampese type of thinking. You know what I mean? Now you better get back there and get unloaded.
First and goal at the 7. 49ers lead the Rams 13-10. The Rams at the door. Flag on the play, and again it's the left offensive tackle for the Rams, Gerald Perry.
And that's Perry's third one. You know, the first one Everett was in there. The second one Pagel was in there.
Before the ball was snapped, number 64 on the offense, still first down.
Remember when he played for Denver, they used to always boo him all the time because he did stuff like this? And you just watch him. And here, there's no excuse for that. I mean, it's not like there's so much yelling they can't hear. He's just going to pull, so he wanted to get a little jump on his pull. They were probably going to run that counter tray where he had to be the lead blocker.
Looked like he was going to answer the phone. First and goal at the 12.
Before it rang.
Here comes the 49er blitz. Delpino, the ball carrier, nothing doing. They're all over in a loss of 4. They're going the wrong way.
And that was Charles Haley. Haley had to make a play. Someone has to make a play. Watch 94 gets through. He gets a penetration. You see him right there, see 94? He's the guy that makes the play right there on Delpino before he could get out of his stance darn near.
Second and goal from the 16. He's one of those guys you don't want to get riled up.
No, I know it, and I think that penalty, that 15-yard penalty, kind of riled him up.
Delpino only has 5 yards today on 9 carries. He did score the Ram touchdown. Everett on second down, back to throw. Has time, has it intercepted in the end zone. Todd Bowles. And the 49ers will take over after the first Ram turnover of the day. Interception in the end zone by Bowles.
You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
If you watch the interception, it's right here. It's going to be a pattern here. Looked like the receiver got bumped right here, and then Everett throws the ball anyway.
Harry Sidney, the ball carrier, stopped by Kelm, but after a gain of 5.
See, if you watch the play, watch the receiver here in the bottom. Looks like right here, He's going to be right here. Looks like he gets held a little. Everett leads him to the inside, and he leads him right into Bowles. I don't know that he could have gotten that ball in there anyway.
I don't think so. There are too many people around in red shirts. That's the end of the third quarter with the score San Francisco 13, Los Angeles 10. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Yeah, this is what a football player looks like, Pat, when you get to the fourth quarter. Got the blood starting on the knee, going all the way up to the hip, on the elbow, blood coming down, the tape job on the hand, while you talk on the phone with one finger sticking straight up in the air. That has to be a linebacker.
That's Flipper Anderson being assisted to the locker room for x-rays on his back. 2nd and 5, 49ers at their own 25. Handoff to Sidney. Chris Pike made the stop.
Yeah, Steve Young has really moved the ball along around today. You think he's a left-hander. He's going to throw more to the left, and that's the way people defend him. But if you look, he's 8 out of 15 throwing to the left of the field, and he's 10 out of 12 throwing to the right. So a couple things. One, that's pretty good distribution, and you better not over-defend just the left of the field.
That's exactly right. And don't you know the 49ers are aware of that?
I think that's what helps when you have someone scripting and calling the play.
3rd and short. McIntyre.
I think this game may be leading the league in that. Guys that are just holding, they just start kind of leaning a little back before the ball snaps. They aren't really doing anything bad. I think guys that do stuff bad don't get caught. If there's anything that upsets an offensive lineman, I think it's that. You know, that whole thing where it's really not a penalty. You know, I mean, you just didn't do anything. You just kind of dipped a little.
The snap count, of course, gives you a little bit of an advantage. You try to beat that, and that's what happened. Young back to throw. Chased by Green. Just barely gets rid of it. Intended for Taylor, incomplete. Robinson and Green chased him.
Well, he got away from Green, but watch the hit that he takes from Robinson. Gerald Robinson, number 97. You see, he's running away from Green, who has a containment. Look at 97. Whoa. That's what you call a decleater. The hit comes, the next thing, all your cleats are out of the ground, and the first thing that hits the ground is the back of your head.
Chico's punt to Darrell Henley, signals fair catch, lets it go over his head then. And the 49ers will down it at about the 33. So the Rams take over after a 43-yard punt, no return, with 13:34 left. The 49ers 13, Rams 10.
This game summary is sponsored by Budweiser.
To summarize, Jim Everett injured his left shoulder but returned to the game. Led the Rams down to the goal line almost before he was intercepted in the end zone. The Rams have 176 yards passing, 49ers 208. All by Steve Young, who's 18 out of 28 for 1 touchdown. That to John Taylor. Del Pino has the Ram touchdown. Kofor 2 field goals and Dejas 1. That's the scoring. Gary behind McGee. Cleveland Gary. No place to go. Right side. Picked up 2 perhaps. Stopped by Dennis Brown.
I still think that the thing is going to be is how many hits can Jim Everett take, because he has proven on that last drive that he can find openings and he can throw the ball. So now they have to see if they bring Jackie Slater in. You see, he's ready to see if he could add some protection. He already has a bad right shoulder, Jackie Slater does. Everett has a bad left shoulder, plus he lost his receiver, Flipper Anderson.
2nd and 8. Del Pino goes out of there in motion. Everett. Back across the body, he hits Henry Ellard. That's close to a first down. Kevin Lewis wrapped him up.
That's one of the problems, I think, with this left shoulder injury is again, can you take the hit? But you have to get rid of the ball before the defense gets there, and sometimes your guys aren't open yet. And if your guys aren't open yet, then there's always going to be the chance of interception. So I think the 49ers have two advantages. One, they can knock them down, and two, they can intercept them. And then, of course, Everett has one advantage, so he can get the ball there before they do.
That completion enough for a Ram first down. 12:35 left to play with the 49ers leading by 3. Ellard has 4 catches today for 68 yards. Since he was hurt, since he damaged his left shoulder, Everett is 5 out of 9. First and 10. Rams at their own 41. Everett back to throw it. Outside quickly to Cox. Don Griffin.
See, that's the way that Everett used to throw last year, and I think he's gotten away from it. And you hate to say that his shoulder injury got him back to it, but just 1, 2, 3, boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom. Get rid of the ball. That's the way that he did it a couple years ago. That's the way Joe Montana did it. And that's the way that since Everett hurt his shoulder, he's doing it.
Michael Walter, number 99, has a pulled hamstring. He may or may not be back for the 49ers. Second down. Everett will throw it again. Incomplete, intended for Ellard. Short. Don Griffin was the cover man. Third down.
You know, last week the Ram offensive line took a lot of criticism because Everett was getting knocked around by the New Orleans Saints, but today they're really doing a job. On that last one, it was an incomplete pass, but Everett had time to look to the right, look to the middle, and eventually throw to the left. So that was good pass protection, and the 49ers have to put more pressure on him. They have to get there. They can't let him stand back there like that.
When you consider that Ram offensive line has really been patched together in many ways just today, they have done an outstanding job. Del Pino is a man in motion. Everett out of the pocket, going for the bundle. Intended for Cox. Incomplete. He had gone out of bounds anyway. Mark Lee was back there with him.
Mark Lee, you're not going to fool Mark Lee. He's a 12-year veteran, played all those years with the Green Bay Packers, and the 49ers just picked him up. But you can see him, you're not going to get by him. And he knows position, he knows field position, he knows how to use his body. And if you're going to pick on someone, I don't think it's a guy like Mark Lee in a game like this.
John Taylor back deep for the 49ers. Hatcher will punt with the wind at his back now. Taylor will handle at about the 14. Away from one. And swarmed on by the Ram coverage. Larry Kelm was the leader. 49ers will take over at their own 18-yard line. First and 10.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. AT&T, the right choice. And by Bud Dry. Why ask why? Try Bud Dry for refreshment that's beyond question.
Back at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, Pat Summerall with John Madden. The San Francisco 49ers leading the Los Angeles Rams 13-10. 11:04 left to play. Both teams came in with 1-2 records. New Orleans shut out Minnesota today. Atlanta beat the Raiders, so they improved to 2-2. One of these teams is going to be 1-4 unless we go to overtime.
If you look before the start of the day, some of the teams that were 1-2 were really big surprises. The Giants, the 49ers, Kansas City, Miami, the Rams. And those were teams that, a lot of people thought were going to win things this year.
Here's Steve Young back to throw. Dumps it out to Jerry Rice. Rice out of bounds at about the 31. I said 1-4. I mean 1-3.
That's what I think the 49ers have to do, is get the ball, find ways to get the ball to Jerry Rice. They don't have to be deep things. Here he's only running about 2 yards deep. He almost takes a handoff there from Steve Young, but get the ball into his hands. Watch Kelm here. He sees him, but then there's no race. I mean, he just can't run with him. See, he can see him coming across. See 52? What are you going to do about it? You can't catch him. That's about, what was that, a half a yard pass?
No more. Dexter Carter stopped by Kelm this time. Done a good job in the middle. There's Jim Everett.
Again, he's sitting next to his one remaining receiver, one starting receiver, Henry Ellard. And he's probably thinking if he's going to get a big play, it has to be to that guy to his right. Of course, Flipper Anderson, we saw him go into the locker room with x-rays on his back. Ernst Grostek, the starting left guard, is in with x-rays and hasn't returned.
They already had a multitude of injuries. 2nd down and 7 at the 34. Young back to throw it. Rice short of the first down, stopped by Pike.
Now, you're not going to see that a lot, Pat, where you see a big guy, 6'8", 6'9", over 300 pounds, tackle Jerry Rice from behind. That may be a first. I mean, that ought to go in some kind of record, Hall of Fame. That big old 93 caught Jerry Rice on a pass reception from behind. Now, there's something that just doesn't sound like that. Like, who caught him from behind? Pike did. Nah, Pike didn't catch him from behind.
Yes, he did.
And he blotted him out, too.
But he still had it in neutral when he caught him. Here comes the blitz. They get it out to Rice again, who breaks 2 tackles, and he could be off. Jerry Rice. Touchdown 49ers. What a player.
Two things John Robinson talked about that he feared was Steve Young and Jerry Rice, and he got 62 yards of both of them on that one. And that's the thing, you got to tackle them. They had a couple of missed tackles. You missed tackle Jerry Rice a couple times, it's a touchdown.
Rice had 3 catches for 80 yards in that drive. Hofer's extra point is good. It's the 49ers 20. The Rams 10. Just watch. The 49ers lead 20-10 with 8:54 left to play. Rice, touchdown.
Well, you see Sammy Lilly miss, Robert Young miss, and when Jerry Rice catches it and 2 guys miss, that's the next thing. Look at this. The point of catch, 156 yards. Run after the catch, 132 yards. That's what the Rams were worried about. Not the point that they caught the ball, but the yardage that they got after they caught the ball.
Well, John Robinson, the Ram coach, well, here's the kickoff. Lines it left and out of bounds. And they can bring it back to the 35. Robinson was saying, John Robinson, when he coached in the Pro Bowl, that he took one look at Jerry Rice and he said, hey, he's something special, this guy.
Well, he said that he's seen a lot of receivers and a lot of guys catch balls, but he's never seen a guy that could catch a football as uniquely as Rice. He said wherever the ball is, he can just reach down and catch it and never break stride. You know, he may not be the fastest guy in football, but with the ball in his hands, he could be the fastest guy in football.
Here's Everett back to throw it. Incomplete, intended for Ellard.
Yeah, we just saw where Jerry Rice was third. And the next question you say, well, if he's third, who's 1 and 2? There's the answer. Don Hudson, Paul Warfield.
It's pretty fast company.
I don't remember Don Hudson or coaching or playing against him, but I sure remember Paul Warfield when he used to run, he ran slants and post patterns. Bob Greasy would throw him to him probably better than anyone that I ever saw play the game.
Except maybe Jerry Rice. Everett back to throw again. Gets it outside to Del Pino, who lost the football. And the 49ers have it.
That's the thing that turns it around. Big plays by guys like Jerry Rice, and then your defense coming and making things happen. You see, he just came in there and just punched that ball out. Got that right hand in there and punched it out. You know, we're seeing more and more of that in football, you know, where the tackle goes, you know, we talk about the pressure points where you break one of the points and just pop that football out. More and more guys, especially the second guy in, more and more guys are going after that football.
John Robinson is out on the field, and this one I think they have to review.
Well, you can see right here, you know, again, does he have control? I think he has control, and the ball is just knocked out.
The play is being reviewed.
Play is being reviewed.
Darren Jordan is the guy that knocks the ball out. Then he grabs the shirt of Del Pino so he can't recover it. I think that's a heck of a defensive play.
I don't think Del Pino ever had the ball.
Well, it looked like he had control and then was knocked out, but you're saying he didn't have it, but part of it was Darren Jordan, and I think they're going to reverse it and say that you're right, that he never did have the ball. That could have been the play that really ended this
Following
game.
the review by the replay official, the pass is ruled incomplete. It'll be third on the 35-yard line. 35.
That's what John Robinson was yelling about.
What he was yelling about is that you can't fumble it if you didn't catch it. I don't know. I mean, it looked like to me that he caught and was bringing it down, and maybe he didn't have complete control of it before it was knocked out of there by Darren Jordan.
That'll bring up a 3rd and 10 situation. The Rams at their own 35. Very unpopular with the 49er fans. Everett over the head of Ellard. And they'll have to punt it.
There's a happy 49er fan. She said, there, that serves them right. Yeah, they watch that, they say, well, they give them a review, they give them back, okay, now it's incomplete. Now everything is fair again, it's okay.
Hatcher back to punt. Taylor back deep for the 49ers. 20-10 they lead. Down at about the 38 by Mike McDonald, who made the snap to the punter Hatcher.
Yeah, really, Steve Young did a pretty good job today, and it's funny how you never look at Steve Young as an NFL quarterback. It's always compared to Joe Montana, and that could be maybe the most unfair thing you could do. How do you compare anyone to that guy there, Joe Montana? And I don't know that that's fair to Steve Young. I mean, maybe Steve Young ought to just go out and be Steve Young and play and not always compare him to Montana.
Sidney, the ball carrier. To about the 46. Stopped by Pike again. Young, 21 out of 31 for 288 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And I think the big thing was, you can have 21 out of 31, but it's who you complete those 21 to. And I think when you have guys like Jerry Rice and John Taylor, a big part of those 21 completions have to be to those two guys.
And what those two guys do after they catch it.
Well, that's the thing. And if there's anything that has gone down in the National Football League in the last 5 or 6 years, to me, it's tackling. So if you have a guy that can break tackles and really run, that's a big plus in today's football.
That's Sidney to about the 48. That's close to a first down. Helm and Pike made the stop.
Hey, Jim Everett had that shoulder. He really looked pretty good and was going well until he threw that interception down there. And they had the interception, and then the 49ers scored. And now I think it was too big an uphill battle.
I think, too, you don't realize, although it was his left shoulder, how much you use that left arm in throwing.
Well, I think the big thing was, too, that he couldn't hold the ball. He had to get rid of the ball. And
right.
Sometimes that's good. I mean, if the receiver's open, if it's not, it's bad.
Sidney. Across midfield. Stopped by Ben Thomas. To the wide receivers, 2 touchdowns.
Well, you see, that's the thing, I think. And 14 of those, the 2 touchdowns were the wide receivers. 14 of the completions went there. I think that's smart. I mean, you're not going to beat people throwing to these running backs. You're not going to beat people, throwing to these tight ends.
2nd and 7. This will be Sidney again. He's got some room this time. First down, 49ers. Stopped by Kelm and Stewart.
After the 49ers lost Roger Craig, that kind of opened that running back thing, and everyone wanted a piece of it. Dexter Carter did some of it. Spencer Tillman was a special teams guy. Rathman, Keith Henderson did. And even Harry Sidney, who had been a special team and short yardage guy, he says, let me run it every down. I can do it. So he gets here at the end. I mean, he's one of those big, strong guys and, that can break tackles. And I think he's saying, if the job's open, let me have a shot at that thing.
He says Carter's quick. Henderson's strong, but I'm strong and quick. I can do both. So let me have a chance. Here he is again. Inside the 35 to about the 33. Stopped by Stewart.
And that usually, Sidney would be the guy that they would put in to block. Now they have Tom Rathman in playing halfback, but he's really the blocker. And Sidney is the runner. So that's one thing. Rathman's blocking dropped off a little last year. He had a bad neck and shoulder, but he's healthy now, so he's gone back to being a good blocker. If there's anything that he takes pride in, it's that he can block. And when he wasn't blocking well, I'll tell you, that really did upset him.
He was tough to talk to. Sidney has 7 carries, 36 yards. Eight carries. First down, 49ers.
The 49ers have always been a better running team in the second half, all the way back to Bill Walsh. And if you look at their efficient runs, when they run and they gain 4 yards or more or get a first down, they've had 19 runs, and 14 of them have been efficient runs. And, if you would break that down further, most of those would come in this second half.
And many of them by Harry Sidney.
And many of them against a Ram defense that was very feisty in that first half, but have gotten worn down in this third and fourth quarter.
First and 10, 49ers inside the 30. Sidney again, this time to about the 25, a pickup of perhaps 3.
And what we were talking about there, Pat, in the first half, the 49ers just had like 18 yards rushing. And now in this second half, they've had about 90 yards rushing. So that's remember, Bill Walsh. Everyone used to always want to establish the run to be able to throw. Bill Walsh came in here and he established the pass to be able to run later.
Don't forget, Saturday CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball features the two teams dueling it out for first place in the National League West. The San Francisco Giants battle the Los Angeles Dodgers, or the Atlanta Braves travel to Houston to face the Astros. So check your local listings for the game in your area. The day gets underway at 2:30 Eastern Time with Baseball 91. Second down and about 7. Sydney. He could go. Touchdown, 49ers.
Probably the most relieved that George Seifert has been this year. That's the first time he's looked like he's smiled or relaxed in 3 weeks.
10 carries, 70 yards, a touchdown for Harry Sidney. Extra point by Kofor is good.
Well, this is 49er football. The defense struggled a little today, but they got that passing game going early. They wear down that defense. Then they get blocks like this. Those are some great blocks out there. It's not only running by Harry Sidney, but blocking in the line, blocking in the middle, and then going down and blocking downfield.
Next Sunday on CBS in game 1 of our doubleheader, many of you will see the Chicago Bears against Buffalo. The defending AFC champion Bills are poised for another run at the Super Bowl, and they feature a devastating offensive attack. That includes running back Thurman Thomas and quarterback Jim Kelly. That's the Bills and the Bears next Sunday here on CBS.
But Harry Sidney, he's a happy guy. You know, that whole drive was 8 plays, 61 yards. Harry Sidney carried every one of those 8 plays and those 61 yards. That was a Harry Sidney drive.
He wanted the ball.
I think, you know, you can always tell a popular guy on the team. You see all the linemen come back. I mean, just everyone coming back there and looking, from Joe Montana to George Seifert to all the players, looking as happy as they did. They were happy for Harry Sidney.
Vernon Turner will handle it for the Rams at about the 6-yard line. Gets out past the 30. Wesley Walls made the stop. Don Shula got his 300th victory today. Atlanta evens their record at 2-2. Today's game was produced by Robert D. Stenner and directed by Sandy Grossman. The NFL Today produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. The senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Gorin. The executive producer is Ted Shaker. First down, Rams. Everett still the quarterback. Faces a blitz, gets the ball to Del Pino on a screen, and he gets out to about the 40.
Did you see on that kickoff, Pat? Did you watch Mike Kofor, the kicker? Watch this. I mean, here's a kicker in action. You watch him go downfield, and then you watch him, and the guys are going to block him. Now watch him. He's down there, and he's not taking anything. He says, "You want to get around me, Stewart? Watch him." He's going to take that right arm and just throw him and give him a blow. Stewart said, "Hey, I can't believe a kicker doing something like that." Then he keeps his feet going. Stewart gets up and gets him again. He butts him, and then they get a reversal, and then they just start butting heads. Now that's a tough kicker. You don't find many guys doing that.
You know, I was talking to him before the game, and he said, "Tell John Madden to watch me on the kickoff." I said, "What are you going to do?" He said, "I'm going to break the wedge."
Did he know that he was going to do that?
I don't know. But that's what he said.
I don't know what I watched there, but Mike Stewart's a tough guy that he went up against.
Aaron Cox, the intended receiver. over his head. This game is presented by the authority of the National Football League, and this CBS telecast intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the San Francisco 49ers, and the National Football League is prohibited.
Now there is one tough guy. Look, and he did that without any pads. See, Pat? I mean, he doesn't have any of those arm pads or elbow pads. He doesn't have his hands taped. He doesn't have his knees taped. He doesn't have any braces. He does that, and then he feels so good he goes over and hangs out with Montana. He's going to want Montana money.
I doubt it.
I do too. You ought to go out and hang out with the nose tackles.
Pickup of 2 on the completion from Everett to Del Pino.
I think this one's going to put the 49ers at 2-2 right back in the hunt. And, you know, there's not a must game this early probably, but I think both these teams felt it was. And I think the Rams, with all their injuries and problems, and you hate to make a statement this early in the season, but it's going to be an uphill battle.
Well, they both get a bye in 2 weeks. You got a chance to get the wounded well. Cox had it and lost it. And the 49ers pick it up. Now they say the pass was incomplete. Griffin picked it up.
You know, the 49ers secondary, all the way back to Ronnie Lott, when they had Ronnie Lott, Eric Wright, that whole group, they were always the best at hitting the guy just as he caught the ball and popping it out of there. And whatever that is, they still have it. And when the guy catches it, goes to bring it in, boom, they pop him and knocks the ball out. Right there. I mean, they've always been tops at that.
Fourth down, Rams. 2 minutes, 15 seconds left to play. The 49ers lead at 27-10. Timeout, San Francisco.
Now, why would they do that?
I don't know.
Why they took a timeout there. The only thing I could, they don't want time. They don't need the time. They don't want to prolong the game. The only thing I could think is maybe they didn't have the right defense, or they didn't have the right guys in there.
The Ram defensive coordinator Jeff Fisher looked at the 1979 University of Southern California defensive backfield.
That's Dennis Smith, who plays for Denver, has been a Pro Bowl. Joey Browner, he's a Pro Bowl player for the Minnesota Vikings. Ronnie Lott now with the Raiders, and then a Pro Bowl here with these 49ers. And Jeff Fisher is a defensive coordinator. Ronnie Lott of that group is going to be the Hall of Famer.
Everett going deep and out of bounds, intended for Vernon Turner, and Everett stays down for a while.
Well, that was Dennis Brown, and Dennis Brown is like 6'4", 305 pounds or so, but watch him here, number 96. He's going to come in, and when he puts a hit on him, you're going to feel it when you get it and then when you hit the ground. I mean, that is a load hitting you and a load falling on you after you're hit.
There's a guy in pain.
He is going to be a sore man tomorrow.
New quarterback is Steve Bono for the 49ers. 2 minutes, 8 seconds left to play. 49ers ahead by 17 points. Bono to Spencer Tillman now. He'll get his chance. Carl Wilson made the stop after a gain of 4. 2 minutes left to play. 49ers in control of things now. 27-10. Don't forget Saturday's CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball continues. Features the two teams dueling it out for first place in the National League West. The Giants and the Dodgers, or the Atlanta Braves in Houston. Check your local listings for the game in your area. The day begins at 2:30 Eastern with Baseball 91. Toronto, a game now in front of Boston in the American League East. Those the scores today. The Dodgers still beating Atlanta in the ninth, and the Yankees beat Boston. Spencer Tillman picked up 8 yards. Clock runs with 1 minute and 50 seconds left. Paul Butcher made the stop. 49ers 27, Rams 10. That touchdown the 49ers got just before halftime. They got the ball with 41 seconds to go and then moved to tie the game.
You know, it's going to be interesting next week is seeing Jerry Rice, the game we're going to do down in Los Angeles against the Raiders, going against Ronnie Lott. Talking about a guy that can run after a catch in both Rice and Taylor, and a guy that tackles after a catch in Ronnie Lott, teammate for so many years. That's going to be an interesting matchup.
Spencer Tillman, the ball carrier, got back for perhaps a yard. The clock continues to run with just over a minute left. Glenn Sanders made the stop.
You know, this thing is, you know, John Robinson was talking about next week they have to play Green Bay and then they get the bye, and it may be too late, but the bye is really turning into a pretty good thing for teams that get hurt early. They can get healthy.
For those of you expecting to see 60 Minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS, the game between the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. I'm Pat Summerall along with John Madden. The closing seconds, the score is the 49ers 27, the Rams 10. 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast and in the Mountain Time Zone. Shoving match again develops with down to 10 seconds left on the game clock. So they head for the locker room. Final score, the 49ers 27, the Rams 10. So for John Madden, this is Pat Summerall saying so long from Candlestick Park, where the final score was the 49ers 27, the Rams 10. 60 Minutes is next, except for the West Coast and Mountain Time Zone. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS continues with doubleheader action. In the early game, most of you will see the Bears against the Buffalo Bills. John and I will be in Los Angeles as the Raiders host the 49ers in the late game. Check your local listings for the games in your area. It all starts at 12:30 Eastern Time with the NFL Today, the last word before kickoff. Saturday, it's Major League Baseball on CBS. Either the Giants of San Francisco take on the Los Angeles Dodgers, or the Atlanta Braves battle the Houston Astros. Saturday starts at 2:30 Eastern with Baseball 91. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.